So this is very weird. Today, August 2nd, Google just unveiled the Pixel 6 and Pixel 6 Pro smartphones. But no, they actually didn't. Let's talk about it. Hey Warenoticers, Shane here, and welcome to another video on the Warenotice Technology YouTube channel. If you're new here, definitely take a moment to consider subscribing so you don't miss out on all my other awesome tech videos about things like smartwatches, smartphones, computers, tablets, tech accessories, and really, just so much more. But folks, yes, anyway, in this video, we're going to be talking about the Pixel 6 and Pixel 6 Pro, which Google just, I don't even know what to call it. They teased it, they sort of unveiled it, they, I guess, gave us a preview of it, but they didn't give us all the information. So yes, these phones are going to go on sale in fall 2021, and that's when we'll also learn about all the different things they can do and how much they're going to cost and stuff like that, because there's a lot of stuff we don't know about them at the moment. But today, Google did actually share some pictures of them, and I will say, spoiler alert, these phones actually do look pretty good. They have this big rear camera bar on the back on both the 6 and 6 Pro that I think looks really futuristic. I think it's a very distinct design choice, because if you notice, like on a lot of phones these days, they have a lot of rear cameras, like on my iPhone 12 Pro Max right here. And one cool thing about this is companies often get creative with how the rear cameras are set up and make it very easy to tell which phone you have. Like I could spot an iPhone 12 Pro or 12 Pro Max pretty easily because of this distinctive 3-camera setup and this sort of square with rounded corners. And now it'll be pretty easy just like that to spot a Pixel 6 or 6 Pro because it has this bar. And obviously I haven't seen it in person yet. The interesting thing is only certain tech reviewers have seen it in person, but even they so far are not allowed to share hands-on video with the device at all. They can talk about their experiences. I'll have some links down in the description. I think MKBHD and The Verge had hands-on with the Pixel 6 and 6 Pro, but they couldn't actually show what it looked like. So I guess that kind of evens the playing field. We can all really talk about it without actually showing it, which kind of sucks. But yeah, I'm definitely excited for fall 2021 when it actually gets in people's hands and we can try it. If you want to see it unboxed, definitely be sure to smash the subscribe button so you don't miss that video on the Warenotice Technology YouTube channel. I'll also have some links down there in the description to my previous Pixel unboxings if you want to check those out as well. But yeah, just looking at the pictures though, I think it looks like a really good looking phone. So the standard Pixel 6, it's going to come in this sort of reddish pinkish color, this sort of greenish color, and then black, whereas the 6 Pro, it has slightly less exciting colors, but still 3 choices. It comes in black or silver or this sort of yellowish goldish color. Personally, I'm leaning more towards the 6 Pro because it is bigger, it's got a 6.7-inch screen, and it also has more rear cameras. It has 3 lenses versus the 6 is 2. So both of them are going to have standard wide angle and ultra wide angle lenses on the back cameras, but then that third lens on the back of the Pro, that's going to be a 4x telephoto lens. I definitely love telephoto lenses on smartphones. My iPhone 12 Pro Max has a 2.5x telephoto lens, and I actually use that a lot because that way you can zoom in without getting additional blurriness, like when you're doing digital zoom. So that is very good right there. Again, just another reason to get the Pro. So yeah, bigger with better cameras, that's exactly what I would want in a smartphone. That's why I got this beautiful 12 Pro Max right here. But I'm really interested to learn, whenever we're going to learn this, what the price difference between these two versions of the phone are. And one cool thing though about that camera bar on the back is you actually can't really tell unless you're looking close up if the phone has the 2 rear lenses or 3 rear lenses. So if you get the Pro or if you get the regular 6, it would be hard to use that feature to spot if it's a Pro or if it's a regular. You'd really just have to know the colors. So if you want to save money and get the 6 and maybe have people think it's a Pro, I don't know, you could sort of do that if you get the black color. But I mean, I don't know. Actually, looking at these pictures side by side, the 6 Pro and the 6 in black, it does look like the 6 Pro has a taller area above the camera bar right there as well. So I don't know, maybe some people could spot the difference between them. And another difference between the 6 and the 6 Pro is actually on the 6 Pro, you're going to have polished sides of the phone. So they were going to be shiny like on my 12 Pro Max right here. But then again, on the regular, on the 6, you're not going to have polished sides of the phone. They're going to be matte. So I guess that's another difference right there. But yeah, new cameras, new design. What else is new about the Pixel 6? Well, the sort of headline of this phone is that it actually is going to have a chip in it instead of a Qualcomm chip, a chip that is designed by Google. So this is a system on chip, SoC, and it is called Tensor. So when I first heard that, I'm like, Tensor, like, oh, my arms are Tensor after working marking out. No, not that Tensor. It is spelled like the word sensor, except with a T at the start of the word. So that is an interesting way to call it right there. It sort of reminds me of how Apple, as I'm sure you guys have heard, like on the M1 MacBook Pro here, is transitioning their computers, like the MacBook Pro, MacBook Air, iMac, yada, 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 over to their own chips as well, the M1 line of chips. So I think that is really cool, actually, that Google is taking a page out of Apple's playbook and trying to up the vertical integration of their product lines, because if you buy an Apple product, especially now with these M1 Mac devices, all of it is made by Apple, right? The hardware, the chassis of the machine, it's made by Apple. The software, Mac OS, it's made by Apple. And now the chip, the M1 chip, that is also made by Apple. Same thing if you buy an iPhone, right? An iPhone hardware made by Apple. The chip, the A14 Bionic chip in the 12 Pro Max right here, also made by Apple. The software, iOS, I think this is like 14.7.1 on the 12 Pro Max, also made by Apple. So Google, by making this Tensor chip for the Pixel 6 and Pixel 6 Pro, is really also doing the same thing, because then the hardware, okay, made by Google. The software, Android, obviously made by Google. It's going to be running Android 12, which I will say, by the photos Google shared, looks beautiful with that colorful design and also with the colorful 6s as well. And then finally, the chip, the Tensor SoC, also designed by Google. So that is very cool right there, because one gripe people might have with Android phones is, unless you're buying a Google Pixel, the hardware of the phone is not by the same company that makes the software, right? Because Google makes Android, so if you go buy a Samsung phone, well, Samsung makes the hardware, but Google, different company, makes the software. So one big draw people have to the Pixel line of smartphones is that, okay, the hardware and the software is by the same company, and they're also supposed to have a very pure version of Android on them. So according to Google, the Tensor chip, which, by the way, Sundar Pichai, the CEO of Google, he tweeted out a picture of it next to a paperclip, and oh man, it is tiny. Definitely a cute little chip right there, but it is supposed to be great for artificial intelligence and machine learning. So one example Google gives of the Pixel 6 being, and I quote, more helpful than ever, end quote, is with, again, that Tensor SoC and also the new cameras on the back. Quote, you're trying to capture the family photo when your kids won't stand still, end quote. And that's just one example. Obviously, I am more interested in seeing exactly all the different features of the phone when it comes to AI and machine learning and how the Tensor chip performs, but we really don't know too much about it at the moment, just some examples. Hopefully, though, it will be pretty good and pretty exciting if Google feels the need to talk about the Tensor chip and also the Pixel 6 and 6 Pro right now, when they know they're not even going to be fully launched or announced or whatever you want to call it until fall 2021, because again, we don't have really very much information right now besides what I've already said. And I mean, also, again, if we go over to the Apple example right here of them transitioning their Macs over to the M1 own Apple silicon chips that they make themselves, well, we've seen huge performance boosts from M1 versus Intel, in addition to huge battery life boosts. Like, for example, on my M1 MacBook Pro right here, Apple advertises 17 hours of web browsing or 20 hours of video playback in the Apple TV app on a single charge on this guy. And I will say, I've noticed hugely better battery life on the M1 MacBook Pro than on my previous Intel MacBook Pro. Granted, that one was 5 years old by the time I got this one, as well as significantly faster speeds doing things like editing in Final Cut Pro and stuff like that. So if Apple's own silicone, when they finally put that in their Macs, was so impressive, I hope Google can live up to Apple's sort of legacy right there and have Tensor in the Pixel 6 and Pixel 6 Pro phones be just as exciting, or at least close to as exciting. But I mean, yeah, I'm really looking forward to the fall when these phones get fully unveiled and we know all their new features, their price, when they actually go on sale, all the stuff like that, more than just that they're gonna have a new chip, new cameras, and what they look like. But I mean, again, even now, I will say they are good looking phones. I do love that futuristic rear camera bar design, for instance, and once again, most interested for sure in the 6 Pro with that bigger screen and more rear cameras. That is my preference, knowing almost nothing about it besides what I've already said in this video. And anyway, folks, definitely let me know down in the comments what you think of the Pixel 6 and the Pixel 6 Pro, as well as Google's upcoming Tensor SoC that's going to be in them. Let me know what your thoughts are. Are you excited to see them unveiled? Do you think it's weird how Google sort of gave us this whole teaser of these phones today instead of waiting for an actual release, announcement, whatever, in the fall? And if you enjoyed this video, definitely be sure to smash the subscribe button and subscribe to the Warenotice Technology YouTube channel if you want to see this smartphone unboxed, and also so you don't miss out on all my other awesome tech videos. And anyway, folks, thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for subscribing. Bye.